Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. How we are doing? How's the family? How's the week going with you? How's your work? And how we are doing generally. So just each time I'm asking you, how are you doing? I really mean it. And with all sincerity, you need to evaluate sometimes how you're really doing. Like, how are you doing and how are you? It's more than just greeting. It's really time for you to, anytime somebody asks you, how are you? You need to really be sincere with yourself and really say how you're feeling at that moment. Some people just say fine, whereas they are not fine. Some people are just say, I'm okay, whereas they're not okay. So when I ask you how are you, I really want to know how are you doing today. So on the scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? So as usual, this is another Saturday where we bring you topics that concerns us, topics relatable to us, topics that will spark our interest and also build conversation around it. As usual, this week, one of the actor, a veteran actor, came online and says single mothers cannot raise real men. And that sparked a lot of controversies and sparked a lot of reactions from mothers, netizens, citizens, everybody saying single mothers can raise good men. They can raise good boy child into man. And from there, I decided to bring the topic to you too. Can single mother really raise real men who will not lack and anything will not be missing in their life? So join us in this conversation. You can also type your comments in the comment section. You can join this conversation. You can also share, comment, like, and also share your opinion on this conversation. Can single mother raise real man that will not lack the masculinity, that will not lack his identity? Can real single mother raise an wholesome child who will be mentally and physically stable? Can single mothers raise a child successfully? Have you seen single mother raising successful child? So these are many more we'll be discussing today. A lot of controversy. There is this stereotype that comes with broken family. You will see, when you see the loud, those garage guys, when you see bad boys who is into so many illicit whatever behavior, who is not listening, those bad boys, we are quick to say that they are from broken homes. And what makes a broken home? Single mother. So now, and I know this is the angle J-Mark is coming from. We have, if you go to higher percentage of people in the garage, people who are not too successful, we have discriminated them and stereotyped them, they're from broken family. And these are the advocacy we give couples, that don't break your family because of your children. Don't break your family because of your children, because the children will suffer for it. What do we mean by the children will suffer for it? Is it monetary suffer, or psychological suffer, or mental suffer? So when we are saying don't break homes because of your children, and a lot of women are suffered in their current home because of children, because they don't want to single-handedly raise their child, because we have stereotypically said that children raised, whether a boy or a child raised by a single mother, do not come out fine. And a lot of people are saying that is not true. The single mother can do it, because we have a lot of fathers who are in the home and they don't even reflect that they are home. They are too toxic for children to even look up to. Some people are just there for, and probably they didn't do anything. And what is that thing that father does to the children that mother cannot do? So these are the things. I'm just trying to prepare the ground on conversations we're going to be having today. What are those things that fathers do to the children that mother cannot do? And who says that single mother cannot raise a wholesome child? And we have everything is not a blanket statement. I'm just trying to prepare the ground so we can see which angle you are looking at from. What is your opinion? Share your opinion in this comment section, please. I really want to hear from you. Can single mother raise a wholesome child? Who will still maintain his masculinity? Who will make sure that he knows what men feel? Because a lot of men raised by single mother are more feminists. They are more feminist. So these are things we will be discussing. Join us in this conversation. Let me bring people in and we can start a conversation. Can single mother raise a real child? And we're going to start this conversation with who really is a real child, like a real man. What makes somebody a real man? This ability to make decisions, to make good decisions, ability to model what a man should do. Do they really need a father figure in their life, or they just moving? Hold on 1 minute. Trying to see. Have you seen people around you that were raised by real single mothers? And how did they come up? Don't forget that we're not talking about, though it happens to finances. Sometimes you don't have enough finance, because if two people raise you, possibility that you have more money, more financial stability than when just one person is the one providing. So back to the question. Can single mother raise real men without a father figure? Or do you need a mentor? Do you need your children to, do you need to provide a mentor for your children? Do you need to provide probably a neighbor, a pastor, a leader, a teacher who can stay in gap in the life of your children while you raise them as a single mother? Do boys raised by single mothers struggle more with identity? Do they really know who they are? Are they a man or a woman? Sometimes they want to model the lifestyle of their mother, and that makes them lose their masculinity. And also, they may want to, they don't really know. That's a problem. That's why in this life, husband do not know how to make decisions, because they were raised by a mother. They don't even know how to give that, assertiveness in their home, because they were raised by mothers. So I'm just trying to see why we have what we have in the society today. We are not necessarily saying they're going to beat out. A lot of them come out, they went to school, they become, working class. But when it comes to decision making, they are so terrible. When it comes to the same problem we have with women, when it comes to emotions, they struggle with their emotions too. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How's your Saturday going?
Yeah, it's going on fine. It's going on well.
How are your abokis?
Yeah, they are doing great. They're
Good
doing
to
great. They're
hear.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like our topic today, can single mother raise real men without a father figure? So let me bring this topic. This topic came from Jamaica, and I know this angle was coming from is we have had over the years that when we look at those touts, people in drugs, or probably in all those illicit behaviors that we count that it is not morally okay behavior.
Yeah.
Most of them
Mhm.
were from broken homes. And this were the
Mm.
narrative we had, that the reason we should not leave your husband is because you want to raise a whole child.
Mm.
And some people say, I'm in my marriage because of my children. I'm in my marriage because of my children. We say that a lot. And it's from the place
Mhm.
that they want their children to see a father figure, like a model, somebody to model, or they just want that family dynamics. They want the children to see what family should look like. There is a father more than children. Now the narrative is changing that single mothers are now doing it by themselves, and they don't really care. They think they can raise awesome child, and most of them are doing it quite alright. We can physically see that this child went to school, he's doing well, he's not into drugs, we don't know his emotional stability, we don't know his mental health, where he is. So do you really think, looking at this topic, what is your own angle? Do you think single mother can raise a real man?
Well, on a personal note, I don't think single mothers can raise, you know, uh, males children the way they ought to be. And I think the evidence is out there. The evidence, is empirically out there. Everybody can see it for their eyes. You know, the kind of men that this current generation are actually, breeding is it's actually a reflection of the effect of single motherhood on this generation. So if you ask me, I would say that I don't think it's possible. There's a reason why the father figure is usually needed in the house. And go check it out. Each house where that father figure is not needed, is not available, it usually has, most of the time, a catastrophic end. So I think the single mothers cannot, they don't have the capacity to raise masculine men. Because now it feels like we have to differentiate between, you know, those two, masculine men and feminine men. And I think the reason why we have more feminine men out there today is because of single motherhood.
I didn't even think that. So, and on a very serious note, we have a lot of feminine men. Even they say they're acting it. Even all our content creators, they are now acting like a
Mhm.
and that tells us like a lot of men can flex and do like a woman because they have seen their mother so much in that space, and there's no father figure for them. But what do you think they are really missing in? Do you think discipline is missing, values is missing, and masculinity? Because a woman can tell you, they will tell them, just say that, mothers want to show their kids love and that tenderness. Don't you think we need the tender men too? Instead of, I am the man.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, being a man is different from being a woman, right? Being a man is different from being a woman. Men ought to be treated like men. Men ought to be treated like men. And I've always said it over time that we, in this current generation, that we're raising weak children, weak men especially. Understand? In today's world, you find men, you know, uh, doing female jobs. In fact, when I was growing up, it was a taboo for a man to even say he wants to become a nurse, as noble as that profession is. In this current dispensation, we have men who are nurses, which is actually a good profession for a man that a man can be. But you go down the line, there are other professions now that men even delve into that are typically for women. And this is to tell you that the kind of men that raise them, and it's not a function of the kind of men that raised them, it's because there were no men raising them. It was because women raised them, and those women, um, as directly or indirectly made it okay for them to be able to live their life in a certain way. Look, there are things that men do today. When you talk about people and content creators acting like women, there are things that you would do back then that people will beat the hell out. Your father will even injure you as a man. That what is wrong with you? In fact, you will be seen as somebody that has been possessed with a demonic spirit. If you begin to move like a woman or you begin to catwalk like a woman and you are a man, these are things that could happen to you that people will begin to say you have been possessed by an Ogbanje spirit and they would want to look for somewhere for you to get deliverance. But that's for you to show you how far, we have fallen. Now, men actually practically, dress like women, act like women, go even to have implants and pretend to be like women. And they are even celebrated sometimes as women. And we feel like it is okay. So again, I will still reiterate, the absence of the father figure is what leads to some of these issues. And it also goes to emphasize that a single mother cannot raise a real man. I'm sorry.
They're coming for us. So they are coming for you.
I
So
love,
now, what do you say?
yeah, I'm not anyone that has a contrary opinion is it's fine for the person to come for me. I would love that.
Okay, have you ever seen a man raised by a single mother, and what do you think is missing in their life? Probably from experience, from people you have seen around, or probably
Yes,
anybody in your mind that you know that this person. I don't need to know you from whom you're raised by a single mother.
yes, the truth is, well, many people will not like this, but I've seen quite a lot of men who have been raised by single mother, and you see how emotional they can get. These men can be. You now think about back in the days when we were in school, the kind of boys that were being raised that time, they were tough boys. It was even difficult for the teachers to, even when our parents heard that the teachers were probably flogging us, they didn't see it as assault. You know, they didn't see it as assault. And if we go back home, we dare not even tell them that we failed a course or we did something wrong, and the teacher, flog us, because they would actually even pile up on that misery. But here we are now. Here we are now, where when dispensation where if as a male child they discipline you in school, your mom will probably follow you to school the next day to go and fight and say that they over disciplined you. That's the truth. You find men who I can't even who even shy away from doing the jobs there. Why do you think that we have a lot of people now, that a lot of and jobs that we don't have people or artisans that are interested in those jobs anymore? It's because of the way the men has been brought up, weak men that cannot do hard labor anymore, men that feel like, it's just soft life that they want to live. That's not how men were seen back in the days. And even in the Western world, I blame them for this. I blame them for the rise in feminine women. I blame them because they are the ones that first started glorifying single motherhood. They are the first ones that started glorifying it and started making it acceptable before, it came down here. And then you will not be shocked that, it's been said that at least 85% of people, of young men who have been, in prison in the US comes from comes from homes where it was a single mother that raised them. At least 85% of them. Another thing, you see, there's another stat that says that 63% of youth suicides actually happens with children that were raised by single mothers. So the stats there are plenty stats. I think there's another one that says that 71% of high school dropouts are actually raised by single mothers. That's for you to understand the effect of that single motherhood, because there's a part of discipline that the woman cannot actually do. There's a part of when you discipline him to an extent where the woman begins to get emotional. And that's where the man comes in. You understand? Back in the days, then, children used to fear their father. Children used to fear their father. And it's not a big deal because their fathers learned how to discipline them. And these are the things that the single mother cannot be able to do. What the single mother does these days is just to pamper the child, pamper the child, pamper the child, and pamper the child. They don't have the ability to be able to discipline the child and teach the child what is supposed to be learned. So I
Hold on, hold
still.
on, hold on, Ajashegu. So I think we are speaking with double mouth here.
Okay.
I know we've sat on this table, we talked about how compassionate men should be, and we want men that can cook. Women want men that can cook, that can clean the house, that will feel their emotions, that will understand them. Women need men that can also understand their pain, because when they are raised by a woman, they will understand their pain better than a man that just wants to be a masculine, let's say, man. And also, we have been on this table and talked about these emotions. That it's okay for a man to cry because we all have emotions. We don't have to bottle all our emotions. By the time, that's why we have a lot of men who are depressed because they don't let out their emotions. That's why we have a lot of men who are dying in the place of struggle because they just want to be the man, be the man. So we have told them to slow down. Let's work as a team together. Now, men raised by women have all these attributes, and they are the hot cake now in the market because women want them because they understand women better, because they've been with their mother, they know the pain of their mothers, and from that place we enjoy them. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I have never subscribed to, you know, that idea that a man also needs a shoulder to cry. Of course, I think a man needs a shoulder to cry on, but there's nobody in the society that is going to give him that shoulder to cry on. So, as much as I think a man needs that shoulder, the truth is, I tell every man the truth that nobody, the society does not give you that chance. The society does not care about that chance. I hope you saw that video of that man that was trying to commit suicide in, I think, somewhere in Kano, and the people down there were
If
encouraging
you
him to
are
quickly
if
jump.
you are raised by a woman, you will not commit suicide.
Well, I
I'm a
beg
man,
to
I'm a
differ.
man, strong hearted.
The
Man know they
stats,
cry, man know they cry,
the
now you kill them.
stats, the statistics does not support that. The statistics says that 60% of those who have committed suicide in the US were raised by women. But that's besides the point I'm even trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that there were men under there digging, that were trying to dig grave and tell him to quickly jump so that they can quickly bury him. And that's the reality of men. That's the reality of life. You understand? So, whatever the woman wants, right? The woman wants this, wants an emotionally intelligent man, a man that can cook, a man that can clean. That's not who a real man is. That's not who a real man is. It starts with provision. As far as I'm concerned, that's not who the masculine man is. The feminine man is the one that knows how to do everything in the kitchen, knows all the recipe, knows how to cook all the recipe. And that's why at the end of the day, in those kids, they always end up wearing bras. You understand? So the truth is, we need more masculine men out there, and the woman is incapable of raising masculine men. Only very few ones, because the place of discipline is usually overclouded with emotions when it comes to the woman, and you cannot apply emotions where you need to discipline. And that's why you see us talk about spare the rod and spoil the child, and the
That
society
is
wins that.
abuse. What you are calling discipline is abuse when it comes to men.
Well, like I said, when we talked about spare the rod and spoil the child, that people who are branding it abuse are trying to say that they know more than God that wrote the Bible. People who are branding it that is assault, they are saying that they know more than the man, the God that put that book down for us to study. That's what they're trying to say. So if the one who knows all says that you should not spare the rod, who am I? And then the woman in her own wisdom goes and attacks the school that they are beating the child too much. So as long as we still have this feminine women raising our men, we'll continue to produce feminine men. People like Bob, people like um, James Brown, people like that. Those are the people that you find in this current dispensation. Unfortunately,
But what's it called? There are in the society, it's never a blanket statement. We have some women who have raised good men by themselves, and we have them everywhere in our society with single mothers now. Look at Yabodo. He raised good son. The son is there doing well for himself. We have a lot of them. I don't know much though, because I don't have them much in my corner, but those people that they were single mothers that have raised good men. Look at what's her name? Regina Choku. We have Messiah Igbe. They're doing well being a single mother and they're raising their kids well. So do you think there are some places whereby we have the masculine we have the men in the house, but the men too, they are toxic. So men are in the house, they are absent. It's just that the mother doing the whole thing. It's better for them to be single than being with a toxic man. That was why they left, or for one reason or the other. So now, how do we balance that? Instead of having a
Well,
toxic man in the house and being a single and a father.
you see, these days, right? I'm usually careful when people throw the word toxic around. When they begin to call people toxic, especially men toxic, the first question I ask is if they have been physically abusive. Because I think we throw the word narcissist and toxic around too easily these days. You understand? So, and I think some of the things that this current dispensation defines as toxic is what we used to define as a a harsh father, a father who was harsh, who was always disciplined. Discipline is even the better word. That's what this current dispensation defines as toxic. So, and I see Tara wrote that Ben Carson was raised by a single mother. Unfortunately, he was raised at a time when discipline was the order of the day, where another man could actually, correct another woman's child, in the absence of his father. That was when he was raised. Unfortunately, now, if you correct another person's child now, you will likely end up in the police station. So it's a different ball game entirely, and I still stand with it that I don't think that single mothers can raise um, masculine men.
Okay, thank you. Bro, today you're welcome. How you doing?
Carol Lutz,
Carol, how's your week?
I'm at where
Clearly, the day you're late.
Bella Champagne.
Both of you and Mr. Tayo, you are late.
I slept late, so I woke up not quite long.
Okay, you're welcome, though.
Yes, ma'am.
And
My network has been bad. It has been throwing me off and on, off and on. I keep going back and forth, so that was why I couldn't join.
okay, both of you are welcome. So, talking about can single mother raise real men or masculine men, according to Ajay put it, without a real father, without a father figure. So, what's your opinion on this? Let me start with Bertrand. Do you think single mother can raise real men?
Okay, so uh, I actually want to start with the statement, real men. What exactly is real men, right? So maybe that was why Brother Dashegun started using masculine men, because the word real men does not make any sense. If you're saying real men, then you're saying they are fake men. So I just want to.
What we mean by real men is men that have discipline, that have values, that are masculine, that have everything that makes a man. There are so many men today. You will not tell me Bobrisky has everything that makes a man. So that's why he's making sure that masculinity, the identity is known. We have a lot of men who play better, who play more feminine roles than who cannot handle decision, who cannot handle situation, who cannot handle assertiveness. Those are the things that makes men, right? So
Then,
those are the
then,
things
then,
we
then
want to.
if that is a definition, then that statement is wrong. Saying that a single mother cannot raise men that can handle situation, that can handle, because, and the reason why I'm saying that is I don't want to get thrown into the deep end of uh, women being capable of raising real men. That's why I'm kind of like starting with that point, right? Because how anybody would turn out in life is not set in stone. It is experiences, because you can have single mothers that raise boys, and the boys early in life started taking responsibilities. We've seen that all around us, and they saw it that, oh, I need to protect my mother. So that's why I'm kind of like saying, what do you mean by real men? That makes the boy a real man. You understand what I'm saying? But let me not delve into that portion. But the point that I'm trying to make is the statement about needing a father is valid. But saying a single mother cannot raise real men trivializes that, in the sense that, of course, I've seen Antitaya and some other people put it in the chat window that we've had single women that raise kids that are doing fine. So to me, it's a close-ended statement that should not be said, even though we agree that there is a place of a father in the life of children. I don't know if that makes sense. So to kind of answer the question in short form, I don't agree with it being a close statement to say single single mothers cannot raise men. I'm going away from the word real men. But I disagree with saying single men cannot. You see, they cannot is maybe I'm going about it with linguistics, right? Cannot is like saying that all single women will fail at raising men. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The,
maybe you
the
could have no single movement, right? No
Not
single.
even most. See,
Some.
nobody has the right to put anybody in a bucket and just tag them a failure in raising men. That's my opinion, right? Does it become harder for single women to raise men? Yes. But does that mean it is an absolute statement of fact to say that they cannot raise real men? No. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you. So, Tayo, do you think single mother can raise men, real men, like also man who will not be feminine, who will not use their identity
All right. When you look
without
at
backing?
what a real man should be, like a whole man should be, in those days and now, they are quite different. All right. In those days, we expect men to be physically strong. We expect them to be emotionally restrained, to be aggressive and tough, to be able to weather the storm and to be self-reliant. And they should also be leaders. That is what we expect men to be in those days. But vis-a-vis what people expect men to be in modern day, it's quite different. Now we want a man who is emotionally intelligent, all right? Like you said earlier, a man who can cook, a man who is there, who understands your emotions and all of those things. That is what we expect of men now. And I think somehow we are taking the essence of a man away from men. And can a single mother raise a wholesome man? Yes, yes. But like Mr. Tunde said, it is becoming difficult by the day. All right, it is becoming very difficult by the day, because even as couple, daddy and mommy present, it is difficult to raise a wholesome man. How much more when it is only mommy that is available, which means the person has to work double, the woman has to work double of what she is supposed to work. Because boys of these days, if you don't have a child uh, who who takes instructions from you all the time, you might likely have difficulty in raising that kind of a child. And it is easier for a single mother to raise a wholesome man if she is disciplined herself. And if her singleness starts probably early, or if her singleness starts when maybe she lost her husband or she was divorced or something, but when she actually had a strong impact in the life of the boy, then she can practically raise a wholesome child. That is, if she herself is not out of tune with reality. If she's in tune with reality, and if she's disciplined herself, children learn from who they see. And which means she will have to be a mother and a father at the same time. And at the same time, she will have to be communicating the essence of a real man into the child early. And I will not take away the fact that the child needs a male figure. All right. She needs to have someone who she can tell the child, like this man. Because if you're teaching a child to be something and the child does not have the picture of what he should be, I can bet it with you, it's just an effort in futility. It will take a miracle for the child to actually be what you want him to be, the awesome man you want him to be. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. So we cannot take away the presence of a man in the life of a child, but a single mother, yes, can raise a wholesome child, provided she is whole herself, she is disciplined, and she has what it takes to raise a child. Because it is not every mother, even whether single or not single, that can actually raise a child completely. All right, how much you want? So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just do you want to react to what they said based on your own stand?
Yeah, I think it makes sense that we don't put all the single mothers in that same box, but you know, the stats says otherwise. If you look at the number of people who has gone to prison and number of people who have, yeah, especially the US. If you take the US as an example, of course they've embraced this single motherhood culture ahead of us. You understand? And then if you look at the way raising kids was back in the days, there's always a parent who is always the villain. There was always a parent who was always the hero. And who plays that hero is usually the mother that the children tend to like because she's always understanding, she's always there for them. Even when they are wrong, she always finds a way to still pacify them. Whereas the father plays the role of that villain, right? And he's always the bad guy. Why is he the bad guy? When that child does something bad, the mother calls the child and the father, and the father does that dirty work, keeps doing it over and over. That's probably one of the reasons why, you know, kids usually have this firm and long uh, affinity and good relationship with their mothers. But in the absence of that, somebody who can play that villain role, it's difficult for you to be able to actually raise the kind of um, men that I keep calling masculine men. But of course, I agree with Mr. Sunday saying that it's not right for us to put everybody in that box. But I think the majority of women who tried and has tried to raise children on their own cannot and have not been able to raise masculine men as much as the parents who have been together, who have tried to do that job together and all. Yeah.
So now, I want to throw it to the
Not
other
to.
one. I feel Day, if you say single mother can raise awesome person,
Mhm.
that means you trivialize the role of the father in the home. You've thrown the role of the father in the home, like with or without you, life continues. Then that means that we can continue life without father. Is that what you're
Okay,
saying?
so let me respond to that. No, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying basically is, let's establish the fact that God that made it possible for a man to marry a woman knows what he's doing. It takes the peer to raise offsprings. However, something can happen along the way with respect to maybe they go their separate ways, or the man dies, and it could be the other way around as well, right? I mean, my personal notes, my dad raised all of his children uh, alone, right? He didn't remarry. My mom didn't leave him on divorce. She died, right? As I was 9. You understand what I'm saying? So can we now say that because my dad was able to raise 5 children all on his own, of course he has his imperfections and all of that, does that mean there was no place for mothers? No, that's not what I'm saying.
Hold on. In that note, let me just, if you have a female child, there's that space and that thing that she's gonna miss.
I'm
in the
still going to
moment.
get there. I'm still
Yes.
going to get there. And the reason I'm starting with that is to kind of like, I mean, give credence to the fact that everybody have a part to play rather. But as life happens, we cannot, because of that, now say that we've become a failure. Now, and I'm now putting it out that it is even easier for a woman to raise a male child than for a man to raise a female child, as far as I'm concerned. So why is it that we are now focusing on single women raising a real child, a real man? As far as I'm concerned, the better statement to make is it takes two people to raise in a perfect scenario. Now, back to what I was saying when you said that, do we now say we can discount the place of the father? See, when we're talking statistics, I've not drawn that statistics out, but statistic itself can be misleading when we don't look deeper enough. In the real sense of it, if we look at our community, the wayward children that we have, and I'm using that word, can we categorically say that the larger portion of the wayward children that we have are raised by single parents? Hell no. No. Because the number of single parents, this is why I'm saying statistics now. The percentage of single parents in our environment is not up to the percentage of wholesome families. So if we have 10% single parents, I'm just saying, in our family, and 90% wholesome family, and we want to attribute larger percentage of wayward children to the 10% of single parent, that is not a good statistics now. You understand what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making is a wholesome family, father and mother, also turn out, based on circumstance, wayward children. That's the fact. That's a fact. Again, we can. I didn't do the statistics, but based on the fact that we have a lower percentage of single parents in our family compared to the couple family, then that claim of single parents leading to wayward children is being destroyed. You understand what I'm saying? And then going back to the statistics that Mr. Ajashegun said about the US, let's not compare situation of US with single parenthood. What happened with them is, and I may not be able to delve into that because, well, for fear of being cancelled, right? We are talking on the internet space, but so many things contribute to that. Unfortunately, what contributes to that also is now might be affecting us in Africa because of the difference of culture. You have households in the US where even the father and the mother are together, but the children are still not upright. That is because this lack of culture of respect and accountability and all of that. Again, I'm not going to delve into that, but a single parent, a single mother, when I said we cannot say cannot, is I'm trying see maybe I'm kind of like being emotional about it because I don't like that word cannot raise real men. Honestly, it's a close-ended statement that is putting a target on the back of single mothers. They are already being life is already dealing with them already, for us to now be saying something, and I'm sorry for using this word, insensitive. And again, I'm not even sorry, it's because of the person that said it, G Mike. Because I don't like how people will feel like because you have following and you have a microphone in your mouth, you can be saying nonsense. He was the one that came the other day and said that doctors were trained not to heal you. How can you say such dumb thing? Are you a medical doctor? Now you're saying that single mothers cannot. Are you a psychologist? No, you're not. Then shut the fuck up. You understand what I'm saying? Now, sorry, I'm being emotional. Sorry. The point that I'm making, honestly, is a single mother, honestly, can pick up in areas where she needs to be the father when it comes to raising men. And also, the other thing that I want to say that I forgot is, before we put all single mothers in a bucket, we need to understand what led them to becoming single mothers. Because what if the husband died? And then you are now saying because the husband died, then she's going to be a failure in raising a real man.
No, that was not the point. But you should get a father figure for the kids. Father figure does not mean remarry, but a father figure means get
I'm not
another
even
man.
going there. I'm not even going to marry.
So we are not talking about the situation that led them to single motherhood. What we are saying is that as much single as you could be, you need a father figure for you. You need a man that your child will emulate.
So let me elaborate on that. The reason why the situation that led to them to single parenthood is important is what leads them to single parenthood may, and I'm using the word may, continue to affect them in the way they raise their children. That's why it is important for us to think about that as well. A single mother that is the problem. You know that we've had cases of women being deliberately harsh and saying bad things about their ex-husband to their children. You understand what I'm saying? In that case, yes, there may be wahala for those kids, because it is the same mistake that she made in the previous marriage that is transferring to the kids. That is why it is important. And again, I'm going back to the word that statistics and some of the things that we look at the face value may be misleading if we don't look deep enough. That's why it is important to consider what led them to single parenthood as well. A single mother that is a crazy woman may end up raising a bad set of children. And that's why, again, I'm picking it apart by not just putting single mother in the one bucket of saying single parent cannot let me stop.
But because over the years, you know, the reason a lot of people are not leaving their marriage back then was because of my children. We hear that a lot. And what do they mean by because of my children? Not because of what they will eat, but they just want their children to have that whole family. They want their children to have that father figure who is their father in their lives. They want the children to see what a family should look like. And that's why a lot of abusive women are not leaving their family. Because I'm there because of my children. That is why we are saying that togetherness is so important. And also, if one is separated, whether the man or woman, there's going to be effect on the children. We should also take that one out too. That effect is what we are talking about now. That effect of you, the father is not there, is going to show in the life of the children. And whether it is also the mother that is not there, it will show in the life of the children. So the children will not be able to balance what it is to have a father and a mother. Now, I want to ask Tayo, do you think that mentorship is okay? I think you mentioned it, like mentorship is important, like having a father figure. But do you think the absence of a father is more of missing discipline, protection, and identity? Because a lot of children do not know which gender they belong to because of the mix, without having this there's, you know, like I said, something's going to miss. And because I was raised by my mom comes only on weekend, so she's always, you know, there, unlike somebody I spend the whole day for a whole week with. So I know some of the things. I know that this thing is, I got it from my father. And you know, a boy that was born in the midst of women, there's something that will just single him out, that you don't need to ask much about his background, that you know that, well, you were raised by a woman. Something will just single him out. And now the absence of a father, is it more about missing this thing, discipline, protection, the identity, or it's just a stereotype type?
Well, that a single mother raises a child does not mean that the child will have identity crisis. At some point in a child's life, they have identity crisis. And for a mother who is observant, she knows when to come in part-time. All right? Is that okay? So even when you have a wholesome family, when your child is getting into puberty and towards teen and leaving teen, they have identity crisis from age 13 to 18, 20. They have identity crisis, and it is the work of the parent to be there. And plenty of the times, it is the mother that is always there. All right. It doesn't mean that the absence of the father is not important. The father too needs to be there. And the way we see fathers in those days is that they are the, like Ajashegun said, they are the villain, all right, that correct your brain. But even then, in those days, your mothers too, they are another kind of villain. Maybe not as much as your dad, because I know plenty of the times it's my mom that used to beat me, not my dad. But the day my dad beat me, I saw heaven that day. But my mom is the one that is always beating me. In fact, there was a time she chased me on the streets. I never knew she could caught up with me. When she caught up with me, she gave me a resounding slap I can never forget in my life. So, though we were quite close and all of those things, when you raise a child, the way the child turns out, it's sometimes based on what the child is exposed to. It might actually really not necessarily be because of the mother. Because the truth is that even children that are raised from a whole home, they still turn out wayward. Let me use Mr. Tunde's word. They still turn out somewhat wayward. What are they exposed to? What is the influence of their parent on them? Now, let's coming back to single mother. That's why I say that for a single mother, our work will double. And like Mr. Tunde said, for a child to turn good or bad, it depends on the person raising the child, one, the environment the child is growing into, and what the child is constantly exposed to. Because if the single mother is the one training, working, and if she has a kind of work that takes almost the entire day from her, you will agree with me that she will barely have time for the child, whether boy or girl. So what that child will turn out to be might not completely depend on her. All right. But if there is if it is in a situation where she has time to work and also time to spend with the child, and she's a disciplined person herself, there are some values she will inculcate in the life of this child that will make you to know that will make the child turn out great. And when you see someone raised by a single mother, one of the things you will notice is that they understand your emotions, okay? Because they are there with their mom, they've seen their mom in her worst and in her best. So that is the thing you might likely notice with them, of which you can also notice it in any child, in any male who is raised in a wholesome home, especially a boy who is glued to the mother. That same child will still exhibit the same trait. So there is nothing particular that you might likely say that you will use to identify whether this child is raised by a single mother or not. None. Depending on how this single mother has actually raised the child. So if a responsible single mother who has discipline and value raises a male child, that child will turn out well. And who also has time, because you have to be present in the life of that child too. Who also have time to be present in the life of the child, raises a child, the child will turn out well. All right. Though,
Ajashagun should come back.
what do you say?
I said Ajashagun should come back. He left. I wanted to ask him like what are those things the role that the father play in the home that mother cannot do it. I just want to get that angle from him so we can have a balanced conversation. Or Brother, do you want to answer that? What are those roles that a father can play in shaping the level of their son that
Okay.
mother cannot?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, thank you very much. So after my rants and my anger, let me software that. So they actually that's actually very valid statement to me, because there are some things that men do in the home that it is not natural, and I'm using that word. It is not natural for a woman to do, right? And I love what um, Auntie Tayo said about the emotions of a boy raised by a single mother. You see, the difference between that is when a single a man raised by a single mother is being knows about your emotion, he has learned it from a place of hurt. Do you understand what I'm saying? He learned it from seeing someone suffer through it, right? But if you have a man in the house, the boy learns it from a place of love, right? Because the first thing a boy will need to learn is to be like their father. That's the crazy thing that people really don't understand. The thing in from the formative age, right? The boy sees their father as their superhero. They sees everything the father did, and they want to replicate it, right? So when the boy starts seeing the father taking care of the mother, right, doing things for the mother without even, like I said, it comes natural, right? The part of showing love, protection, simple thing. They see the father as the strong man to change the bulb, to mow the lawn, to change the couch, and all of that, right? That is what the father does in the house. That it is not natural for the woman to do. Now, if that is, and the reason I'm saying that as a positive is when it is done right, because there's the flip side to it. If the fathers are not doing that, or they are doing it scornfully, that is what the boy will learn as well. That is why you see boys that will sit on the couch and kick their leg while the mother is doing dishes. That is because that is what they learned. You understand what I'm saying? Unfortunately, and I'm saying it as a jab to Jim Ike, right? That is what most men regard as real men. And that's why I wanted to start with, what are we even calling real men? You get the point that I'm making? You see, the other side of things is there are some decisions that men take that is different, totally different from decisions that women take. The way we think about things are different, right? And so you want to do something, like let me use myself as an example. If I want to make, if there's one thing that I want to do, I don't spend too much time on the external variables, right? I think about the end goal and I work towards that. That is how men think. But you see, women, as they are thinking about the thing that they want to do, they will start thinking about, okay, so if I now do this, how will it affect the shopping that I'm going tomorrow? You see, it's not a straightforward thinking for women, right? See, if you're living in a house that doesn't have a man, you will spend time on those external variables, right? Like something that I always my wife doesn't really like about me, which I'm learning through, is if someone like my wife needs to do something and is narrating it to me. Like, there was a day that my wife was telling me something and she spent 8 minutes, and 6 of those 8 minutes were like sub narration. You understand? Like saying, so I'm going to the mall, and that was how I was driving. But then you are expecting, okay, so what happened when you go to the mall? Oh, but then I now remember I've not spoken to this person, so I now called okay, wait, is that part of the conversation? Because you called me, you wanted to tell me what happened at the mall. So those are the things that are different from the place of a man and the place of a woman. We are result oriented. So those are the things that a boy that is raised by a single woman will miss. That result oriented problem solving, right? Which may be an issue if you don't get that, truthfully, for a man. And unfortunately, If a man is not being result oriented, if a man is not being masculine, then it's not.
Imagine a man telling you a story like that. How you feel like, oh, man, stop it, John.
My
Imagine a man.
so funny story. I hope he's not going to listen to this. There's a friend of mine that called me. He called me several times on video call, right? And I did not pick it. So the next time we talked, he now started abusing me. Now, why will I call you and you didn't pick on? And the next thing I said was, even my wife cannot be telling me what you're telling me now. And that was what caused our fight. So I understand. To me, that a man should not be bothered about you called someone and the person did not pick. You understand what I'm saying? So that I just said that to kind of like agree with what you just said.
I'm saying that whoever raised you also matters. Like sometimes I don't talk like a woman. I'm just so overblown. I'm result oriented in conversation. Like I just want to hit the nail on the head and just move on.
Exactly.
And that does not sound feminine to a lot of people. And there's always that, I always get it with me. Maybe because I always stand with men. I know how the dynamics of our men talk. I'm always in the circle of men.
So will that now be fair to say you're not a real woman?
I may not. Oh, because I just started to become a woman, so that my husband and I will not be struggling with the position
No,
of
but
man
what
in
I'm
the house.
saying is, what I'm saying is, what makes you uniquely you?
So
No,
I get it.
this is what I'm saying. What makes you uniquely you does not strip you of your womanhood.
Okay.
It's not a disadvantage. That's the point that I'm making.
So yes, it depends on whatever lens, the cup can be half empty or half full. So it depends on how you're looking at it. So if I'm going to look at it from the place of advantage, like that means I'm, proactive, I think fast, I'm strong, I'm self-reliant, I can be positive with that. And at the same time, I can be like, you're not a woman.
But so here's the thing. There are two things that we're looking at here, right? There's a core value of what makes someone. And they are the superficial ones. You see, what you're thinking, what most people think about, that's not the core. It's the superficial. It's like an upgrade on the
Okay.
base. The base is you're still a real woman.
Yet
But
you
your
have some men.
approach.
Yeah,
Say that
but
again.
yet you have some men who, when they are talking, they gesticulate like a woman. They are so feminine in their conversation, and when it comes to decision making, they think like a woman. That you feel like, sorry. And when it reacts, you like, you should do better than this. So it's from the place of who raised them.
So it's not really about single woman that raised them. Because
Yes.
a two-parent family can raise them and they can stay. In fact, I have a friend that is like that. He's feminine. If you don't know him very well, you will think that he stays in Agege. But it's not. He's just like that. But does that mean he's not a real woman? And he's real man rather. And he's raised by two parents, not a
He's
single
not.
mother.
He's not. He's not. So, Tara, what's your reaction to all that we have said before we call it a day?
Actually, raising a wholesome child or a wholesome man is not only dependent on the fact that you are a single mother. Okay, there it takes a whole lot. And the truth is that for a woman who raises a male child, like Mr. Tunde said, the boy might actually be. If you look at some guys that are actually slick when they talk to women, and they actually know what a woman is thinking part time, it is because they live where there are a lot of women. So they have learnt women's emotions and all of those things, and what they do is just to put it into play. They know what you're feeling part time, okay? And they know how to talk to you because they are a man. All right. There is no how you will take a fish out of the water and you expect it to swim on the ground. It will die. So whether or not a single mother raises a male, the instinct of being a man is still in them, and it is still very dominant. Even though they will have to exhibit some female traits, they will still be a man. So whether they be it in the right way or in the wrong way, there will still be a man. All right. So the truth is, because for example, I was raised by my mom. And if I tell you that I'm being raised by my mom, you say it's a lie. Why? Because you know me in school. People call me a tomboy.
You were a tomboy.
Well, you said it. So if you wouldn't believe that I'm being raised by a woman, because I take life as it comes. Maybe now that I'm a mother, I see life differently. But in those days, I remember that I was carefree. There are some things that I will do there that I will damn the consequences. But unlike now that when I do some certain things, I'll start thinking I have children. Who will I leave them with? So that place of responsibility is actually there now. All right. So I think it is where it is how that child is being raised by who. Because some single mothers are very responsible. You don't expect such a person to raise a responsible child. And if the person raised a responsible child, you will notice just by sheer luck, all right, by sheer miracle. Maybe the child is surrounded by good people and the child actually see what other people are doing and the child is actually, how will I say it, is learning from them. All right, because even as humans, we know what is right and what is wrong. So maybe as along the line where the child is growing up, see some people and all of that, and decide to emulate them. But there is no irresponsible person that can actually train a responsible person. All right, I'm a head teacher. I see a lot of things in my school, and what I would like to put out there is that if you are going to part ways with your spouse, please do it between yourselves. Take it away from the children. All right. And I will advise parents who are separated not to speak bad about their spouse to their children. It affects them a whole lot. More than you think you are helping them, it is damaging them. It is terribly damaging them. Sometimes when I hear some things, I am vexed, but because of my position, there is nothing I can do. So the only thing I can do is just to talk to the child and encourage the child and let the child something differently. All right. So I think if you are going to go your separate ways, try and avoid as best as you can talking bad about your spouse to your children. They are innocent. You both met yourselves. Only God knows where you met yourself, on what platform or whatever it is you promised yourselves. And if it is no longer working, let it be between yourselves. Take these children out of it. And even if you are going to go your separate ways, please let the other spouse be in the life of those children. Please. There are a lot of course. The thing is that by trying to speak bad about your spouse, you are already raising a dysfunctional child who will grow up to become a dysfunctional adult. And those are the kind of children that have identity crisis even till their adulthood, which is not supposed to be. Identity crisis should actually stop before you are 20. By 20 should actually be get to understand you. But some children still don't understand themselves. By 25, they are still confused as to what to do and how to run their life because some parents decide to parent them. All right. So that is what me I will say. Where if you are going to go your separate ways or something happened, you have to go your separate. Please don't speak bad about the other person. And if probably it is death that took the other person, don't let it look as if because I've seen someone who is actually telling the children that the spouse that died actually did him wrong because the spouse is not supposed to die because they both promised themselves that they were going to take care of the children till the old age. But death took this person, and I don't see why the other person that died should be blamed for dying because I don't think the person actually want to die. All right. So we should please learn how to train these children. It is not just to, like I would tell people, the easiest thing to do, as hard as it is to be pregnant. The easiest thing to do in the journey of parenthood is pregnancy. As hard as pregnancy is, that is the easiest thing to do in the journey of parenthood. The moment they come on earth, boom, there is a lot of work you need to put in place. And you will not get out of the work till your dying day. That is the truth. So that is just what I'm going to say. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you so much. That was so depth, very, very deep. Thank you so much. Bro Tunde, any last thing or parting word before we call it a day?
I actually don't have anything to add to what Sister Tayo just said. That is the absolute truth. So Fumi Olabi Fumi Olayo Kuro.
What I would just add is the role of both parents cannot be overemphasized. We are all important in shaping the lives of our kids, but if situation or anything happens that you have to be separated, just make sure that that person needs a role too. So you just need to inculcate the gender. I'm so big on having a father figure. I'm so big on that. It could be anybody. Just need to somebody that your child will model, a person that you want your child to turn out to, probably a responsible person. And that person must have gone through all test of time. So just need, because a lot of our society is very dysfunctional. You don't even know who your child is mixing with. So if you don't trust anybody around you, you can also be good at raise your child well. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Ó dàbọ̀.
Bye bye. Oh.